good? We got a surprise Night City Wire special that showed us some Cyberpunk 2077 gameplay on Series X and One X. Sony's cross-gen games are built from the ground up for PS5. All things Batman are cursed in the year of 2020, and there is so much more to talk about here on Tuesday, November 17th. It's news, games, and more. Let's go. But before we get into that, joining me today is Josh Dew.
Hello, what's up?
Hello. Benjamin Watts.
Hello, thank you for having me.
And the TikTok legend himself, Jeffrey Vega. What is good?
What?
Hey guys, how's it going? Hello.
Flawless as usual. What's it like off social media, y'all? Because before we started, this is like all of like y'all are all like the social team.
Yes,
That's right.
So this is your lane. Like this is where y'all thrive. And let's get it going. We got Cyberpunk gameplay on Series X and Xbox One X. That's still not easier to say. This morning we had a surprise Night City Wire special completely out of nowhere. It was 10 minutes of CD Projekt Red showing us gameplay. It's kind of a little bit truncated just to fit the mission in there and also avoid spoilers. We have another Night City Wire that is scheduled for November 19th. That one will focus on Keanu Reeves' character, Johnny Silverhand, and will also reveal some of the music fans can expect to hear in their adventure in Night City itself. But for what we saw today, essentially it was Xbox One X gameplay spliced with Xbox Series X gameplay. So both current gen and last gen, which is weird to also say. That's very trippy. And essentially, we saw a quest where you're hunting down a missing person through any means necessary. You kind of get a little bit of driving, talking to some NPCs. We do see Keanu Reeves briefly, aka Johnny Silverhand, or vice versa. And then it kind of has like a little bit of this cryptic, trippy end to it from that like quest line, or at least that portion of the quest line. As well, it's worth noting that Cyberpunk pre-orders are finally back on sale, but the enhanced version of those games for like our current gen consoles, Series X and PS5, won't be out until 2021. Y'all, what is your gut reaction to seeing this 10-minute footage kind of spliced together?
It was really kind of nothing burger for me. Seeing it like there's really, I mean, we've discussed this before that we're so close that I don't really need to see anymore. And what they've showed me didn't really seem any much different than what I'd seen previously. So I guess they were showcasing, look, Xbox One X and Xbox Series X. And because of the way I was watching it, just like on YouTube, where they're doing it 1080p, didn't look that much different. So, okay, that's all.
Hey, Jeffrey, what about you? Was it kind of similar?
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to avoid everything, but so it was fun to kind of see a little bit more in action, specifically geared toward the fact that we're so close to the release. It did stress me out watching the person play the game because they chose all of the like mean options where it's like telling them to like F off and stuff. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be choosing like the nice route. So it was kind of nice to see something that I won't be doing. But yeah, like to what Ben said, I didn't really see much of a huge difference with the like, I guess now last gen Xbox One X. So that's great for literally everybody, since at least, most of us have at least one of them. So that's exciting.
An interesting spin on the idea of them not looking drastically different. Like I never really thought about it from that angle, because selfishly I do have like the new current gen consoles. Once again, very odd to say. So I didn't really think about it that way. I guess that does benefit players that haven't yet upgraded. You're not really quite missing out at the jump. Josh, how did you feel about what we saw today with Cyberpunk?
I mean, for me, it's just more like confirmation that like it's kind of meeting this hype that they initially set out, like this very nice, well-built, really expansive open world, a lot of neon, a lot of puddles, a lot of characters, and it doesn't seem like that was a false promise. The more and more gameplay I'm seeing out of this, the more and more I'm like, oh, they're actually doing this. And it's not so far, it doesn't look like a letdown. So the more Cyberpunk I've been seeing, I haven't been more sold on it. I've been like very highly sold on it the whole time. Nothing's made it drop. Nothing's made it go up. Actually, it might have dropped a little bit just because of all these delays, and now I'm just like, is it going to be that good? But when I see footage like this, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it will be good. And so I'm kind of hyped.
Yeah, I like that you brought in that idea of this like lived-in world that they're trying to sell, especially coming off of the back of a lot of open world experiences. Like for me, I've played like a lot of Watch Dogs Legion, and even something as simple as like there being sort of those dialogue text bubbles above NPCs that are just talking as you pass by. Like they played without subtitles on, but those still sort of appeared. So it definitely makes you feel like you're going to be kind of walking through and experiencing like this kind of organic feeling world, at least, even though obviously it's a game, so it's very carefully constructed. Something that I'm interested from y'all is what setting are you excited to see in Night City? Because so far a lot of the marketing for Cyberpunk has been very like, ooh, we're in a bar, now we're in a sex club, now we're in a sex club that also is a bar. And it's like it's very much selling that what a lot of people associate like Cyberpunk world to be, which is like neon, there's like sex and robots everywhere. But what other kind of locations like do you want to see in this universe?
I guess for me, it's more kind of like contextual settings. So, like, what part of the story I'm in and what am I exploring? I really like the idea of you'll have to help me out here with what's the corporate track that you can take.
Ooh,
You know,
I
where
forgot
you're a
the name of
business.
it. But yeah, I think it might just be called corporate even because there's Nomad and then
There you
there's like the two other ones. I forget the
Yes.
official names offhand.
So aside from all those sex club bars that are obviously littered throughout the world, the idea of, okay, so I'm going to the mission. How much of this corporate building am I going to get to explore? Is there a basement level? Can I go to the rooftop? That kind of stuff is what I think will be not make or break, but really take it to that extra level. Is like, how much freedom will I feel? How linear will it feel? Again, I haven't been hands-on, but from everything I've seen, it seems pretty linear in the story. So if I can go and explore extra areas in the settings, that's kind of what I'm most excited to experience.
I've seen a lot of like interiors in general, and I'm like wondering
Yeah.
how many buildings am I going to be able to enter, because that's the thing about open world games. It's like no matter how big and how cool it looks, a lot of the times you can't go inside buildings. And that kind of takes a bit of like, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm playing a video game sort of thing. With the exception of like Ghost of Tsushima, where you don't really go into any buildings. But I am like Ben, more interested in like the corporate stuff, I guess. Just the more how sleek does everything, like, can it really look in 2077? Like I can see all the seedy stuff, and I get that. But there's this awesome
What are the
technology.
non-janky people doing,
Yeah, exactly. Like, what is it like to be living it up, balling in 2077? I would be really interested in that.
Jeffrey, what about you? Are you also playing the corporate role in Cyberpunk 2077?
That it's so funny because
You're a corporate chill. Like, let the audience know.
I honestly, I am a fat cat that works at City Hall, and yeah, no, it's kind of fun to like. That's like my like ideal fantasy is like I'm gonna go through a corporate track, because it's just like, I mean, hey, yeah, let's just see kind of like how big I can make it in this game. But yeah, I feel like I'm really excited to kind of see. I feel like most of it, I mean, it is Night City, but like I always love watching the like clips that are like in the daytime. I'm just like, oh, what's just like a nice morning in Night City where it's like I'm not like what's like the version of Cyberpunk with like in Grand Theft Auto 5 where they have like the kind of desert countryside. What's Cyberpunk's version of that?
Yeah, I think we'll see a lot of that in the Nomad route too, because that's sort of like you start outside of the city. So I think like players that take that route will mostly have that experience. So like I do wonder if like as someone if you're not playing Nomad, like is it just gonna be very distinctly different of a feel? There's also like those points in open world games where people will say it really picks up here, or this is when then it really gets going. Like, are the people playing those different lines gonna have that experience? But yeah, kind of the same. Like I love a lot of the slice of life stuff. Like I want to get a cup of coffee in the like one thing I loved about back when I did live in San Francisco where the main IGN office is located. One of the first things I did when I got here was you can get a coffee from like, what is it called? The little cafe robot. It's like a little arm that comes out and gives you like your frappuccino. I love that stuff because I think it's really dumb and like over the top, and that's just in like 2020. So like in 2077, like how is my espresso being served to me? I have to know. And then kind of nerdy and meta, I want to go to an arcade. Like I would love to play like a game within a game in Cyberpunk. Like, is that just going to be VR? Like, what's the situation going to be? It's already a first-person game. That's what I'm looking forward to doing. But to your point, Josh, I also really want to like go into a lot of buildings because that's always the biggest bummer when you're like, what's that pizza shop like? And they're like, oh, you can't go in there, but people are coming out of there. So how's that working?
Yeah,
a little bit of a loop.
Can we go to the theater in Cyberpunk? Because I can't do it in real life. Can I go watch Wonder Woman 1984?
Pay for a movie ticket.
It's been confirmed that like Keanu Reeves, like the man, exists in the lore world of Cyberpunk. So like, can you watch The Matrix in there? Like, is that going to be a thing?
Well, I wonder if anybody tells Johnny that he looks like an old movie star as well.
Yeah. Like, is this his like retirement career? He's like, it's not about the money. I just am really passionate about being inside someone's head. I hope those questions get answered when that game comes out. But until then, cross-gen PlayStation exclusives are being built from the ground up for PS5. This was speaking to Telegraph. Sony Interactive Entertainment President and CEO Jim Ryan had stated our PS5 experiences or versions of these games are built from the ground up to take advantage of the PS5 feature set. And this was to address concerns over the idea of PlayStation 4, quote unquote, kind of holding next gen back because it's on PS5 and PS4. So one thing he added was, I think when it comes to offering a PS5 version of all these games for the PS5 community, and then a PS4 version of all these games for the PS4 community, I don't really see anything wrong with that in terms of it hurting one or the other. We did talk about this a little bit on the show yesterday, but of course, this is a whole new set of people. I'm not sure who you guys, like who had a PS5 already or who spent time with it, but did you find in your launch weekend experience, did you feel like you were missing that like pure PS5 console exclusive game?
Oh, no, definitely not. For me, at least. Again, my favorite game so far is Astro's Playroom. So I was sold on the free included game. And then
that's
and
the
then,
one exclusive.
That is the one true exclusive.
The one true exclusive. So I guess it already did have it at the point.
No, I mean, I don't feel like anything's being necessarily been held back. I mean, we got to think this stuff in development right now that'll only be for the PS5 and next gen. It's in development now, and it'll happen. But I mean, that's still years away. We've got time. There's nothing. I don't think we feel like we're being wrangled. There's not enough like next gen stuff. There's still tons to play, and I've already gone back and playing PS4 stuff on my PS5, and it's beautiful. That I still need to get through. There's too many games right now. Anyway, so I'm plenty content, and I think definitely keep feeding the PS4 crowd. They're just as worthy.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Ben as well. Except for the thing about Astro, I'm not crazy about that game like at all. Mainly because of the soundtrack. I cannot bear with that soundtrack, and I was like, the DualSense is great.
Like you don't want the like weird
no.
I want to touch up on the GPU mashup songs.
Please stop.
Yeah.
That song was spicy. It was a spicy track.
It got so bad so fast. But as a demo for the DualSense, it's great. And I think if there's one thing that you're missing out on right now, on PS5 that's not on PS4, is playing games with the DualSense, because just the vibrations, haptics, adaptive trigger stuff, like it's all like pretty great. They're not like super integrated into like I've been playing Spider-Man, and it's not like super noticeable as much as it is with like Astro, but like it's still there, and it does feel different. In terms of graphics though, I'm like, the original Spider-Man looked great too. I'm not a huge guy on graphics, and so I'm like actually the one thing I do really like about PS5 is like the lack of loading times, and it's just mind-boggling to me. I turned on my PS5, went straight to the menu, went straight into the game in like less than 30 seconds. I'm like, what is happening? I'm not used to this. Like I'm so used to like, okay, well, if I turn on the console now, I'll have time to go up and like grab a drink, and when I come back, it'll be ready to go, sort of thing. But
Now you're just
I'm
dehydrated all the time. Haven't
It's
drank
so-
water in like 8
Yeah.
days. Just
yeah. And then I
parched.
fast traveled too, and it was just like instantaneous. And I was like, what? Like, I think this discussion's been had before, but the fact that fast travel nowadays can be so quick, it's gonna change, I think, how game designers would be designing their games, because the main like downside for doing fast travel is like the load time. But now if you can just zip everywhere so quick, you'll have not that much reason to actually traverse the map. So I'm really interested seeing like how game designers are going to use fast travel when there is no fast travel lag, basically.
Yeah, for sure. I thought that was really well integrated in Miles too. How it was, instead of like the subway ride, it was just like kind of coming in and out of the terminal. Like that was such a smart, like smooth move on their part. Jeffrey, what was your PS5 launch weekend like? And did you find yourself kind of missing that marquee PS5 exclusive besides Astro, which apparently wasn't good enough according to Josh?
Oh, so good. So good.
I'll have to be the tiebreaker here. And the Astro's Playroom, I've only played the beginning, and the controller, the DualSense demo at the beginning made my jaw drop. I pass it to my I live with my best friend and my sister, and I was like, guys, everybody feel this. And it was just so much fun. And the
game was so good you played it for hours, right?
No, yeah. No, I was actually going to say, because there's so many great games for the PlayStation 5, I didn't have time to play Astro's Playroom. But I will say the PS5, my PS5 launch weekend, I absolutely jumped into Miles Morales. I'm only like 10% of the way through. I'm really trying to savor it, but I'll probably play a lot more today. I feel like the PS5 has given me kind of like a new sense of like, I want to finish my backlog, which I feel like everyone here has a huge backlog that they need to finish. And I like, this is so specific, but I recently purchased Octodad, which is by the same company who made Bug Snacks. It's like $3 on the PlayStation Store right now. So I was like, all right, I'm going to get it. And I've started playing that. And everyone has sent me screenshots of the PlayStation Friends app that says, Jeffrey, everyone's playing Miles. And then Jeffrey's playing Octodad PS4 version on the PS5. And it's kind of like this weird thing of just like, I feel like this like renewed sense of love for gaming, which it kind of like goes back to why I love what you mentioned earlier, but what Jim Ryan was saying about how there's no need to like have super exclusives. Like it's really nice and fun that there is like this kind of like huge overlap, because my sister has a PlayStation 4 and she never plays it. And she started playing it a bunch when Fall Guys came out. And now she's playing it like every day. She also got Octodad. And it's like the fact that we can still like chat on her PS4, PS5, like it's kind of like made this, I'm like super Switch player. Like I mostly play Switch, but like the PS5 launch weekend was just like, oh man, am I going to start buying games on the PlayStation Store now? Like,
right? Okay, you're literally reading from my diary. I'm curious as to if like Josh, Benjamin, like, are you guys also feeling this kind of shift towards, I don't know what your, well, first tell me what your console or PC, like what your play preference is. Because for me, I was very Switch heavy. I love the portability. I love Nintendo. And then for some of the bigger like AAA games that either didn't come to Switch or would not run very well on Switch, I kind of went Xbox on those because I really liked having the diagonal joysticks, and I like that controller the best up until the DualSense. But now with the DualSense, I'm like, am I just going to be like all in on this PS5 as like my Series X sort of just like collects dust in the corner? Because that's how like innovative the DualSense is for me. Where are y'all at on that? We'll go with Benjamin because Josh kind of has evaporated into the wind just a little bit. No, he's back. He had to think about it for a second, but now he's back.
Hard think.
Okay, yeah, I'll go. Firstly, yeah, my console of preference really has always kind of been PlayStation. That's kind of what was my first ever console. And because I have this job that is on a computer most of my days, I like when I unplug, I prefer to sit on my couch. And so that's where the console really is the perfect outlet for me. I think kind of this is why Astrobot is so good. Because it really tickles that nostalgia of any PlayStation fan. When you find that artifact, that kind of your first few artifacts for the first time, and you get to those end areas of the level and you hear the very familiar sounds from consoles past, that's really that's really the next gen experience for me. And I can't speak highly. I
Yeah.
think if you don't like Astrobot Playroom, it really says something about what kind of person you are. Take that as
Oh,
what you
what
will.
yeah, what kind of person is that, Ben?
Some
Would
people
you say
can't
As
is-
somebody missing a
accept
heart,
joy
I would
in their
see
life.
a
Okay.
doctor.
Do you find that you
Short.
self-sabotage often, Josh, in your current gen experience?
You know what? I didn't even get far enough in Astro to see any of those like nostalgia PlayStation.
Wow,
things.
did he even play it? You have to
Mhm.
ask.
Well,
you have to.
my question, I did play it because I did not like the music. I can tell you that much.
That's true.
Name
If those-
name
if
one
those
name
little-
one character from Astro's Playroom. Just name one character.
Oh God, I can't think of one.
So many memories running through my mind right now. There's bot A, bot B, bot C.
Just a
No,
bunch
but
of
go ahead,
robots.
Josh. Where have you normally been playing, and then do you find yourself like leaning anywhere now that we're in this new generation?
Oh yeah. As I think about it with my eyes closed and my mouth shut, I will do my best ventriloquist impression and say that I agree with Ben on a lot of this. Is that I'd rather not. I would like to separate my time from my
Thank you,
desk
Borba.
and my recreation time. And so I've been playing a lot on PS4, PS5, and it's been great.
Oh man, that was like I love how you just kind of really went to that place in your mind palace for
Mhm.
where games reside. Josh, even though you are slowly frozen and unfreezing at varying degrees, I can't help but notice that someone very close to you had some strong thoughts on the PlayStation 5 design, and I would love to hear you expound on that whenever you do resurface into the ether.
What
do you think of
the design?
I am going to do that.
And the video's pulled up now. It's so
What do you
good. It's on
think
your
of the
Twitter account
design?
still, I believe. I saw this over the
Sorry about
weekend, and it
that.
was just absolutely hilarious.
design?
Yeah, there it is. Okay.
Hey,
Sorry about that, John Borba, our producer, who has to deal with my awful technical difficulties. Shout outs to you. Yes, so I got the PS5 and then I went to my parents' house. And my dad had never seen it before. And so I put it on our entertainment console, and the moment he saw it, he hated it. It was spite at first sight, I guess. And
What do you
this is the video.
Wow, it's ugly.
What do you?
yeah, I don't think it has sound on it, but can you tell me what he's saying there, just for those who
He
didn't
says,
get the pleasure
"Wow."
of seeing this?
the design?
Yeah, he goes, "Wow,
Wow,
it's ugly."
it's ugly.
And that was, I mean, like, I'll be straight, like, it's not the first reaction that he had. Like, he saw it, he reacted. I was like, "Oh, let me just get this on camera for my own, social media," and then I just recorded that, and then that was it. I posted it on Twitter and went to bed. And the next morning, I found that Janet retweeted it, Brian Altano retweeted it, and then it started doing very well on Twitter, and then it went viral. It was great. And now my dad is, he's so big headed. I asked him to be on the show today so we can interview him about his experience, and he said he was all booked up. He's appearing on James Corden later, so I don't know.
Wow.
I guess he couldn't
Well,
come through.
maybe at some point. Before we move on, also, Josh, I couldn't help but notice that your parents seem to have a lot of remotes. Can you tell me what those remotes are for? 'Cause
Yes.
there are no less than a dozen remotes.
Yes.
What's up with that? And is the PlayStation remote one of the ones among them?
No, the PlayStation is not among them. There is, funny enough, he has a universal remote. And all of those remotes are obsolete. And so he doesn't need any of them. But for some reason he likes to put them on display on his entertainment console just in case, maybe to flex. To
We
show
all
how
have
many
different
things-
collections, right? Like some
Yeah.
people still have all their PlayStations just lined up. But moving
the other
on
thing
from
that people
go ahead.
noticed as well, though, is that he has a striking resemblance to Jensen Huang, who is the CEO of NVIDIA, which I did not realize until I saw pictures of my dad with a leather jacket on. So if you guys
Yeah.
want to just go on my Twitter, you'll see the side-by-side comparisons. I've never seen Jensen Huang in person. I've never seen my dad and Jensen Huang at the same time. So
That's
if my
the
dad's
kicker.
holding out on Nvidia stock for me, then I'm gonna be a little pissed.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the only logical explanation, honestly. But moving on, the Batman HBO Max spin-off TV series loses a showrunner over creative differences. As it tends to go. And for just a refresher, this was the TV series based on Matt Reeves's The Batman, and the showrunner that just left was Terrence Winter. This news came from a report by none other than The Hollywood Reporter, which claims that Winter's vision for the series did not line up with what Reeves and other producers on the show had in mind. For some even more background, because I know there's been a lot of Batman talk with Robert Pattinson's Batman. This show is a spin-off that takes place in Gotham City during presumably that era where Robert Patterson would be Batman, like during that first year. And this places the series about a year before the Batman on Matt Reeves' Gotham timeline. Once again, it's kind of more relevant if you're really up to speed on how like the different eras work. While set during year one, the HBO Max series will focus on the city's police department coming to terms with Batman fighting crimes in the city, which also just sounds like a hilarious premise, even though it will probably be very serious. It is unclear when the show will premiere on HBO Max, but we do know that the Batman is currently scheduled to hit theaters March 4th, 2022. So just right around the corner for that one. I got a
So
lot of
far
questions
away.
with this.
Yeah.
What do we make of this? And can Batman catch a break in the year of 2020? 2020 is almost over. It's been nothing but bad news for the Batman. Where do we land on this? And did you guys already plan to watch it? Do you have HBO Max? If you do, unrelated, what's your email and your password for said HBO Max? I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, my I have HBO Max. My username is Benny Watts at IGN.com, and my password I'll drop it in the chat.
Great.
It feels when DC Fandom happened and they showed the trailer for the Batman, that feels like 10 years ago. And it breaks my heart that we will not see it until 2022. I mean, we don't even know when we're going to be able to see movie theaters or to go to movie theaters. And it's such a weird thing to like read. It's like, oh, this spinoff of a movie that I cannot imagine seeing in my near future is like, I don't know. And I mean, I'm excited for it. Like they're doing the same thing with the Suicide Squad. Like I'm excited for John Cena's like spinoff thing, but like the fact that they're doing so much for this, because apparently like, I don't know. It's just like, I love the idea. I feel like we talked about this in previous episodes, but like with like WandaVision kind of being like a supplement to like the MCU films, like I'm all for Batman. And like I know we had a Gotham series on CW, I think, but like tying to this movie that we may never see is this weird like bittersweet feeling.
This show sounds pretty weird as well because Batman is a presence in this Gotham City, right? As opposed to the Gotham TV show where Bruce Wayne hasn't become Batman yet. So it's like, okay, there's no Batman yet. But I don't think Robert Pattinson's going to be in this show. I haven't heard anything about him signing on to be in an HBO show. So it's weird that they're doing a show where Batman is there, but we never see him. And he's just like, I don't know, a presence. I don't know how interesting that's going to be, honestly. I would love to see like more in that world based on the trailer that we saw. But the fact that they're making a show where Batman exists, but you don't see Batman, just kind of like, it's a little lame to me.
What? No, I disagree wholeheartedly.
All right, Ben, throw
Drag
him.
him. No, I
And
don't know
this
why
is
I keep
why
throwing Jasper under the
Astro's
bus.
Playroom is so good. No, I'm really excited for any kind of creative endeavor that is basically trying to like, okay, so this is what you're gonna get Batman eventually, but now we're getting supplementary content. It feels like, I mean, if it's coming post release of the movie, then clearly we as an audience will be more informed on what's going on. I think it would be more interesting if it kind of led up to the release of the film. But now with the losing its showrunner, maybe that won't happen. Clearly, whenever they say creative differences, it's probably someone didn't like somebody. They're just like, no thanks. No,
That's what I
thanks.
say for all my breakups. Parting because of creative differences. It's just what you do. Like, it doesn't really, like, we all know it means everything and nothing. Like, just to kind of tack it on. They were reached out to for comment, but unsurprisingly, there wasn't really any more details on that. Sort of tangentially related. I just need to know from y'all, because I think about this all the time whenever Gotham comes up. Why do people keep living in Gotham? And at what point would you have packed your bags and left? Like, there's a lot of different stories in the Batman universe. What would have been the deal breaker for you? Because, like, how people are sticking around when, like, half the place is froze. I think it's Mr. Freeze for me, because, like, I hate the cold. I think I just would have. At that point, I'm like, it's too much. It's too much.
Which, like super villain, like, disaster would have caused you to be like, you know what? I'm out.
Yep.
Yeah, why Gotham over Metropolis? Why Gotham over Smallville? Like, they're viable options.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's like a pride thing. Like, some people just like want to be like, you know what? I lived through this. Like, I'm true Gotham.
It's not that bad, you know.
Like, I've seen Batman twice now. I lived through Mr. Freeze. I've even inhaled a little bit of Joker gas. Like, I'm true Gotham, man.
I'm an OG.
Yeah.
Point of pride. What about y'all? Y'all stubbornly staying in Gotham City?
Oh, no.
Oh, I wouldn't. No, I would leave for sure.
Right? Like, I certainly wouldn't stick around until 2022 or whatever. These movies / subsequent spinoffs will end up coming out. But yeah, hopefully that ends up happening. Like, I'm really looking forward to more Batman. And I also feel like anything Batman related feels like a long time ago. I remember seeing the news, being excited, and then having many moons pass after. And we're still waiting. So hopefully everything Batman related is really cool when it does finally come out, and I can stop just rewatching the Dark Knight trilogy, which is great. But also, I kind of want more that also doesn't involve reading. Sorry, comic book fans. Moving on to what I think is actually secretly the most important news that dropped today. Secretly, not so secretly. Animal Crossing New Horizons winter update has finally been detailed. This is something that has been, yes, we see it now. Turkey Day in all its glory. We got Turkey Day on November 26th, where you're going to, these always have visiting characters. So Franklin, the chef, is going to come by. You're going to help him cook some stuff with some key ingredients. If you help him cook, you get some rewards as it goes. We got Toy Day on December 24th, which has a similar sort of loop of helping, getting presents, getting gifts. There are, of course, seasonal recipes attached to all of these. You can shake holiday trees. Like, trees will have ornaments. Those ornaments are used to craft items. That's going to be great. We see Jingle in all of Jingle's glory here. There's new reactions coming. There's new hairstyles that are going to be available. Home storage is getting increased to up to 2,400 slots. There is finally a reason to pay off your home. If you've been waiting because there's no real reward paying off your home, there is finally a reason to pay that last bill, because you can increase that storage. You can also now visit random islands in Dreams. Before you could, this is not to be confused with Dreams the game, before you needed a dream code, now you can just go to random islands and sort of dream surf your way across the Animal Crossing universe of space and time. There's another Pocket Cramp collaboration. That means, yes, you deleted it, download it again, just to get the free item that you don't even need, because that's what I'm going to do. Island and resident data transfers are finally here. Why do I own 2 Switches? Because of Animal Crossing. Will I give away the other Switch? No, because I'm used to having this life of 2 islands, and I can't let go now. Seasonal items. There's going to be New Year's Eve. I don't know if I want to sit with my Switch as the new year comes. So I guess this is the best year to do that, because don't go outside because there's a pandemic. So many things going on. Jeffrey, I'm going to start with you. I know you had a lot of strong reactions to this. What is your feeling on this?
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts. Very excited. I say what you will about the piecemeal updates. It's keeping me something to look forward to every morning when I wake up. I'm like, is this the day where I wake up and a Nintendo trailer was posted at 6 a.m. Pacific? I am so excited. Another one of the reactions that you can learn now is you can sit down. You can sit down on the ground outside. That has never been possible in any Animal Crossing video game in history. Are you taking notes, Josh? I know you're playing Astro's Playroom right now.
Can you sit in Astro? Can you sit on the ground in Astros?
You can. If you let him go idle, he will bust out a PSP.
Yeah.
Wow. But
Yeah.
I have to listen to more of the music while I wait for him to go idle, right?
Just mute it and put on Spotify.
Yeah.
It's fine.
There's a Spotify app built in on the PS5, Josh. Come on.
It's like he doesn't even know the console he owns. Okay, Jeffrey, please continue with this. Yes, you can sit. You can sit. And what's important is, like, your villagers will already go and sit. So it's like now you can sit with them. You can be friends. It's so cute. It's
Yeah,
so good.
I'm so excited. Although I will say, and not I don't want to discredit all of the like really neat updates coming out now and for December, but I also, and this is just for my Animal Crossing fans out there watching, where is Brewster? Because I really thought we were going to get Brewster, who is, for the uninitiated, Brewster is uh a a bird. I really should have looked this up.
You're like, for the
You took a
uninitiated,
long
aka
time to
me.
just come up with. You took a long time to come up with just bird.
He's a
He
rooster,
is
right?
he has tiny little glasses. He runs a coffee shop. In past games, it was in the museum, I believe. It was, you could actually like get a coffee.
He's a
You could get,
pigeon.
he's a pigeon. Thank you.
Pigeon.
I was not wrong.
Very much a bird.
Yeah, the bird, the rat of the sky. He's nowhere to be found, and I really thought he was going to come with the winter update with being able to pass out hot chocolate, because you can get like a Starbucks looking drink and walk around the island with it. Because I'm always jealous when my neighbors are running around with little chocolate donuts and sandwiches, and I'm like, whoa, what the heck? I want that as well. But again, that's just my plea. I'm using this platform to say, because I know Nintendo and Miyamoto, everyone's watching. Where's Brewster? Hashtag where justice for Brewster. But as far as the other Animal Crossing stuff, very excited. Winter's my favorite time of the year in real life, and so I'm very excited to have the snowfall. I haven't really like time jumped or anything, so I'm kind of excited to kind of go through that in real life, because I usually go home for the holidays into my home in Georgia, but I don't think I'll be able to do that this year. So Animal Crossing will be like a really kind of like weird, what's the word I'm looking for, will be a weird kind of like comfort that I like appreciate, where like my sister and a lot of friends from home play it. But so I'm very excited that there's going to be a lot of new stuff. And then the storage, that's, I know you touched on it, Janet, the storage, like again, we mostly play on Switch, my sister and I will just hear my sister like just scream in her room because there's cool new stuff in Able Sisters. She has no room to put it. Ben, I know you're a huge Animal Crossing fan, but let me just remind you that there is a limit to the items you can own in the game that you can put in your closet, but you cannot. The limit is like 1,600, which you can fill that up easy because there's like 20 colors of every item. So thank you, Nintendo. Again, I know you're watching Nintendo America, Nintendo Japan. Everybody, I cannot thank you enough for tuning into IGN. Thank you for this update.
Yes, very well said. Benjamin, Josh, are either of you playing or still playing? Like, where are you at with Animal Crossing?
Yeah, well, I was surprised you went to Jeffrey first, because I'm definitely the biggest, I think, fan of Animal Crossing on the show. Like, I got Jeffrey into Animal Crossing. He took a really long time to convince, and then he was like complaining, like, well, it's me just doing chores with cute animals. And I'm like, dude, just give it time. Yeah, that's what I got him for his birthday. I knew he would love that.
Oh, come on.
Good work, Benjamin, on sending him those. He didn't know what they were when
Yeah.
they arrived, but he's figuring it out. You gotta open them, Jeffrey. You gotta open them.
Yeah, Jeffrey owes me big time. But then, no, I haven't really played for a while. But I like the idea of seasonal updates, and I wish it came to other games. Like, if I had a Turkey Day in Astro's Playroom, wow. I mean, it'd probably do some damage to internally into the like PS4, but I'll take it.
Man, Josh could never.
Josh, are you playing Animal Crossing at all? Or I'm not sure what your relationship is with Animal Crossing.
Yeah. I played pretty hard when it first dropped for a few months. And then I kind of fell off around my birthday. After I had my birthday in August and I had my birthday party, I was like, that's it. I peaked. And so I hadn't really come back to it. I stepped back in a little bit for Halloween. Actually, it was like the day before Halloween. I got like one piece of candy, and I was like, well, here's who am I going to give this to on Halloween. And then, I don't know, it's just like right now, I was having a discussion about Animal Crossing with a few of my friends, and we were all talking about how there's so much of our island we want to change now that there's been so many updates, so many new items, and, we've seen so many cool ideas out there now, but it's just so hard to tear down and then, start fresh again. And we're all just like wishing for a Animal Crossing New Game Plus, which would be just like clean wipe the island, so we can just start fresh, because part of the like hassle is like you can't just start fresh. You got to take down everything you already have, break down all the cliffs, and fill up all the rivers that you set up to start fresh. So just a nice little like, I don't know, eraser
Just
thing.
like a cute
Animal-
natural disaster that it wipes.
Yeah, like an Animal
Yeah.
Crossing apocalypse just to
Every-
wipe everything clean.
I
Well,
hate
Josh-
that so
Josh,
much.
How crazy would that be? Isabel's just like, good morning, everybody. Today we have a tsunami hitting the island.
Like she literally just turns into that dog, the like everything is fine dog at her desk. Flames just fill the background.
Josh,
God.
I know.
What's up?
Unlike Astro's Playroom, Animal Crossing
Mhm.
does not have an ending. You can't just do New Game Plus on Animal Crossing. I feel like maybe Josh just signs off. I think in every single Animal Crossing game I played, I started with Wild World on the DS, and then New Leaf, and then the Wii City Folk. I've always started over once, and it gave me this like full. I can't imagine doing that now because I've spent so much time in it during the pandemic, but like there's a weird sense of like kind of a new leaf, pun intended, I guess, at this point, of just fully starting over the game and like knowing what to do, and you kind of speed run that. And that's like that like gave me like a kind of fun like new look in that game. And you can even store your items in someone else's island. Maybe that's cheating, I don't know, probably it is, but you just keep your favorite items and then bring them back when you have the airport. But it truly genuinely, like I wouldn't play for like years at a time, and then I'd be like, I'm gonna open this up again. And all in the past games, villagers would move when you weren't playing, and that was devastating. So I would be like, I don't even know where I am, I'm just gonna fully restart the game. And I like fell in love with it again.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm doing, because like I had originally, I think I started my new island maybe 6 months ago. I got the game when it came out. I
You like
played
super
for
rushed
guides.
it.
Yeah,
for guides,
like
yeah.
I played like crazy for guides, and I did a lot of time traveling for guides because I was literally assigned to the time travel guide, which some people had a hard time understanding that would involve time traveling for my job. But I probably would have done it anyway because I just cheat my way through everything. But I did that. I like played a bunch. I didn't really spend time designing it. How anyone on the guides team designed their island is beyond me, because like I'm like, oh, surely we're all just playing specifically for work. So like we're spending all this time playing it for work that we're not going to play also for leisure. Show up to Brendan's island. He's got lava, waterfalls, and all that. I'm like, where? And his guides are better, so I don't understand how that worked. But so I started over with the new, when they had the Animal Crossing Switch that came out. I bought that Switch, and I'm like, this is before the data transfer, which just dropped on this update. So shout out to that if you do want to move your island and get a new Switch. I bought that Switch because I thought it was really cute. I liked Animal Crossing. And then I was like, well, this is a perfect time to start a whole new island. So I've been working on it. I'm still building it out. I'm almost done building it. And I'm now like moving everybody's house because I didn't set it up nicely. So it is definitely a pain to redo it. But I found that like having a really intentional purpose, like for me this time, it's like, okay, no time travel run, like kind of using everything I learned and like picking up new stuff. And there's so many updates and like things that keep happening that there's always more to discover, and like new hacks and just like different things that people are doing. And like, I just find it really, really exciting. And I'm like so hyped about just how much is packed into this update. I really love like the new customization options. Like people have been asking for more like black and brown hairstyles in Animal Crossing since the game came out. So that's dope. Yeah, I want more of everything. I want to bury me behind Nook's Cranny in this game. It is so good. But before we move on, I do have to ask, I just have to know, fair or foul, they got the turkey character cooking during the Thanksgiving event.
Oof. Yeah.
And is he cooking turkey?
It could be.
No, there's no way.
It could be tofurkey.
There's
right?
no.
It could,
Yeah.
but what kind of I'm not going to that. No offense.
Like, how do they
That's why
know what
you need
like,
help.
a
I'm like,
cooked turkey looks like?
You should have told me, or I would have ate before I got here.
I will say it's worth noting that a lot of the clothing items you can get in Animal Crossing and Able Sisters, a lot of the leather stuff is faux leather, and it says that in the title. So I would have to imagine it's not turkey. Otherwise, I don't know what Nook and Isabel are doing, because that is harrowing.
I mean, there are other meat products in this game, right?
Excuse me?
See me in this game. Like you see like lollipops and popsicles and donuts and drinks, but you don't really I don't know what's sustaining everybody on the Animal Crossing island.
feel like I saw
Bugsnax
like a
probably,
shish kebab
but-
or something. Could have sworn.
It's all vegetable.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
it's
So, but there is
very-
turkey now.
Yeah,
Well, there's
allegedly.
a turkey who makes an unknown dish. Maybe we'll
That-
find out when we actually play
Does
it.
it look like turkey?
It doesn't, but like, I don't know. They
Okay.
got the turkey in the hat. It just feels like something's coming. Like, I don't know.
And they
It
call
makes
it
me a little
Turkey Day.
uncomfortable.
Is it
Yeah,
his
it's a tur-
day? Like it's a celebration of him?
I
So let's
hope.
eat him.
I don't know.
I hope so.
I know
Well,
I
like,
should know this being the expert, but no, I have no idea.
They pardoned the turkey, like as tradition. So maybe this is. I don't know. This is the pardoned turkey. I'm not really sure. It's just a little bit.
criminal turkey that they pardon. He gets to cook for everyone.
Like,
Yeah,
and
Isabel will make
Nintendo
an
does like
announcement.
play with this. Like Chops is a pig. He's definitely like Chops is in like pork chops. But anyway, I don't know. It's a little bit unsettling. Try not to think about it too hard. And now that we're celebrating the Animal Crossing update, we can also celebrate Assassin's Creed Valhalla having its biggest launch in series history. Some staggering
Damn.
numbers. Assassin's Creed Valhalla had the biggest launch in series history, selling through more launch week units than any other entry in the franchise before it. A fun statistic that was brought up by Rebecca Valentine over at GameIndustry.biz is that Valhalla managed to take the #1 spot on the UK physical sales charts in its launch week, beating out Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, which is the first time Call of Duty has not gotten that #1 slot on that chart in its debut week in 13 years. Holy cow. Are y'all shocked by this data? Like, how does this strike you?
I
It
think.
doesn't
Yes,
really-
yes,
yeah,
knows.
sorry.
No,
Go for it,
you can
Josh.
go. Oh, okay. I will go then. It's. I'm pretty surprised, honestly, because Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War looked pretty good. And there was a lot of anything we post about Assassin's Creed, because may I remind you, three of us here work on the social team. Anytime we post these things on the social platforms, always top comments are like, I miss the old Assassin's Creed. Like, oh, this ain't my Assassin's Creed. Stuff like that. I miss when Assassin's Creed had assassins. Whatever. But this just goes to show that this franchise is not dying. This franchise is not like getting less popular. It's like what's the word? Vocal minority at its finest, honestly. And I'm pretty impressed, and I'm kind of surprised, and I'm not like rooting for either side in this case. I'm just looking at it as a spectator and being like, oh, interesting.
Benjamin, you said you weren't surprised by this. Can you expound on that?
No. Yeah, yeah, not at all. I think if you look at just the marketing leading up, I feel like Assassin's Creed Valhalla just was like pushing to be that launch title for Xbox, especially. And I think it really cornered that. I mean, again, Xbox didn't have a ton of like those exclusive. So when you think about what was available that was like brand new on that platform, that was seen to be enhanced for that. Again, it is native 4K on Xbox Series X, where it is upscaled for PS4 at 5. So I'm not surprised at all, and I think Assassin's Creed seems to just be kind of getting more popular. Again, like we had the launch title of Black Flag for PS4, and that seemed to do pretty well. And that seemed to be a lot of people's favorite of the franchise in a very I have no statistics. That's just my kind of general understanding. I've got
The vibe.
Welcome to
can't show you
social.
numbers. Yeah, I can't show you numbers. I spoke to a few people and they told me. However, people are still playing on Call of Duty. People are still playing Warfare pretty religiously. So they may not be ready to jump into just another campaign. That seems to be the core audience of Call of Duty anyway. They're multiplayers. So it totally makes sense to me that Assassin's Creed definitely won out.
Jeffrey, did you see this happening based on, your like lurkings in the TikTok sphere? Like, were people like dancing this information your way? Is it surprising or not?
They were telling me their Assassin's Creed Valhalla to Doja Cat. No, but yeah, it's very
Let's start a
and I'm
quarantine.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you didn't ask me first because I gave Ben every single copy of Assassin's Creed he owns, like every single game in the series for every gen.
It's
Because
true.
I'm a huge,
I mix those up at the top of the show.
I'm
my
a
bad.
huge Assassin's Creed fan. No, it's great. It was kind of a weird thing where I have not played an Assassin's Creed game, and I was kind of excited to kind of jump into this like weird kind of like moment where it's between the generations, and it's like this is going to be like kind of like a big thing that a lot of people will have memories for. But the Viking aspects, I don't know, it doesn't really like appeal to me. I'm sure it's very good, and a lot of people at work love it. But I know Ben was saying that it's very good and fun. But I just like it looks awesome. It looks great. But I don't know. Everyone so talks about like everyone's so fond of like, previous generations that sometimes it's just like hard to live up to that. But I mean, all the videos that I've seen of it are beautiful. And I haven't really seen a lot of kind of like Assassin's Creed on TikTok. Even honestly, any of the kind of like adult kind of games like Cyberpunk, like there is nothing Cyberpunk on TikTok, and I've put some Keanu Reeves centric stuff on there that does pretty well, and there are people that just like a couple people are like, oh my god, what is this, when is this, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot you guys are like 15 years old and probably can't buy this game. And it's just like I have to like edit out all like the gunshots and stuff because TikTok will flag that right away.
I would love to see the TikTok version of Cyberpunk. It's like just me walking through a street, like that's it.
Yeah, it's like here's the 30-second trailer, and it's like 2 seconds long.
Hell yeah! This would also be my first entry into Assassin's Creed. I have it downloaded. It's ready to go. I am playing it on PS5 because that's like that's admittedly my boyfriend had bought it. I'm just gonna use the game that you already bought and download it. But yeah, like I'm just not sure like what point I want to jump into it. But also just like before we kind of close it out, I think clearly everyone seems to be pretty positive on the game. It got pretty well scored. We like spoke pretty highly of it in our reviews, and like we covered it also for our new show Review Crew. We kind of bring in different people in the industry talking about this game. There's a lot of hype around it. It's like open world, in between gen, sort of next gen, sort of last gen. Why should I should I be jumping into this? Like, what is the big appeal point for people who are kind of seeing this information and saying, hey, maybe this is something that I would be interested in? And either Josh or Ben, you can speak to that.
Yep.
Not all at once.
Well, go ahead, Ben. I'm trying to formulate my thoughts here. Yeah.
Delete it. Got it. All right. So
no, I think I don't know if I can convince you to jump into Valhalla. My favorite game of the franchise is Odyssey, and that is an unpopular opinion. I just love that world. I love just going through and the water, and it's beautiful, and Greece, the way it's depicted is awesome, and I don't mind the historical accuracy being kind of like thrown out the window for more of that mythology, and I know they're doing more of that for this one. My recommendation for everyone is like, if you want to play an Assassin's Creed game, I'd play Odyssey because it's just such a free roaming thing. So I can't convince somebody to pick up Valhalla now because it does seem so much darker and so much just, it's England, so it's just gray. That's just what it's like there.
Yeah, but it's 4K gray.
Ooh, that is some high quality gray.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Moody in this.
Yeah, it's just the whole Valhalla. It's just a mood. So you got to be in it to kind of get it.
Josh, you kind of land in the same spot.
Well, I haven't touched it yet either. I'm about to right after I finish Miles, but it seems also like kind of a very strong open world type game. I mean, Assassin's Creed has always been that way, and when I was first starting out in that series, that's kind of what built my own affinity for open world games, and like now I'm a little more hypercritical when it comes to open world elements. Like I wasn't super crazy about Ghost of Tsushima because of that. I'm like, oh, it's great.
Yeah.
It's like it's the tropes are all here. All the good open world stuff is there. It's not bad. It's just like I've seen this before, right? And so I'm curious to see how Valhalla is going to shake up that formula a little bit, because I've heard they've done something different with side quests, which I'm interested in. And so I'm also prepared to sink a lot of hours into this. Like I've been hearing that to really cover everything, just like the previous two games, Origins and Odyssey, there were just like so many things you could do. I am mentally preparing myself for another long haul. I don't think I've played a game, like a really long game, since like Red Dead 2, maybe.
Yeah.
And I Red Dead regretted that.
Well, it's always a good time to have more
Jeez.
regrets, because at least regrets are concrete instead of just kind of floating in the ether.
Yeah.
So
I just want to let
Go
it
ahead.
out there that I know that's an unpopular opinion. I don't want to get roasted in the comments. I thought it was a very well built game. It was just way too long. That's all. That's it. Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely, marathon, not a sprint. That
Yes.
is about all the time that we have for today. I think I am going to go ahead and jump into Assassin's Creed Valhalla just to eliminate it as a subject of conversation. I think that would help
Yes.
a lot of
Yeah.
us here.
So you can
Let's
stop
stop
saying I've never
debating.
played Assassin's
Yeah, like I've
Creed.
never played it. Should I?
Yeah.
Like, we're just going to do it and then have a feeling about it and see where
Great.
that feeling leads us.
Yeah.
But you can join us tomorrow and every weekday at 4 p.m. PT for news, games, and more. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, wear a mask.